nice rainy day here in Missouri, so it's a good time to get the boat ready for summer. Now, we've had the Speedster like 23 years now. Haven't really changed the looks of it any. And what I'm doing today is not, it's not a big change in the looks. But the one thing I've always hated about it was the purple. The purple handles and the purple rub rail. And I couldn't find any handles for it because I looked, this is a 96, the 97 Speedster was the same body style and it had black handles, but the part number was discontinued. But I found some black handles on eBay and I wasn't sure they would fit because they didn't fit a 97 Speedster. So I went and bought one. Still not sure exactly what they fit, but I've got the OEM Seadoo number, and they are an exact fit for this 96 Speedster, just in black. They're like $15 a piece, and last time I checked, they were readily available on eBay, or probably wherever you want to get your handle. Installing them's a piece of cake. There's just a cover here, cover there. We'll pop that out with a screwdriver, and then take 2 screws out. Pry around in there, just a wow, look at the junk coming out of there. You can tell those handles have never been off. Pop them out. Then inside there you need a Phillips screwdriver, one with the large tip. Get a nice long screw out of there. And I'm going to see if I can find something for the little impact. I'm going to end up with carpal tunnel. Okay, I found a number 3 bit which fits perfect into these screws. Much easier. Now, I'll clean these both up with a wire wheel, get all the old thread locker or whatever gunk is on there. And I'm going to take and clean all this debris up from all the years of setting on there. Probably hit that with a little polishing compound, smooth everything out. All right, got the holes cleaned up. A little bit of regular cleaner took the loose dirt off. It was a combination of hard water deposits and everything. So what finally cleaned it up was good old Ducky water spout remover. Let that soak on there a little bit. Then used a plastic scraper to scrape everything loose and then hit it with a little polishing compound. Looks pretty good now. Now here are the new handles, the black ones, compared to the purple ones. Shoot in the light here, they look about the same. But this one is definitely black, this one is definitely purple, or grape as they called it. But they're the exact same handle. So we'll get this one screwed on there. Cleaned up the threads on the bolt, and it looked like it had some kind of locking compound on it. I'm not putting anything back on there because I don't want the thread inserts to end up spinning sometime if I ever had to take them off again. And stainless steel bolts, it doesn't need any kind of corrosion protection. And if they come loose, I'm figuring I'll notice it before it completely falls off. Looks good. Last part is the little trim buttons that come with the handles. Them in. That one's done. Looks good. Just leaves the 3 up in the center of the boat. I'll do them next. Right now, the other project I wanted to do, the other thing that's purple on this, well, there was a little purple on the seats. And the poor driver's side, about worn off. This side's still on there. Eventually, I'm going to have to reupholster these seats. But, keeping it inside, most of these boats you see are just, the seats are destroyed from sitting outside. This thing, the entire time I've had it, if it's not on the water, it's in a garage. So the seats are still nice and pliable, and I can live with that purple. The purple I can't live with is the rub rail. Now look at the amount of crap that's in that. Plus these rub rails are hard as a brick from being so old. Now they're held on with a bunch of rivets. Now, I'm definitely going to take this completely off. You cannot buy, that I have been able to find, the replacement black rub rail from Seadoo. Everybody shows it out of stock because I was looking at the 97 Speedsters. I think you can still get the grape, but I don't want the grape. But what I'm going to do is take it all off, and then there is a company called Taco Marine. Found them somewhere on the web. Taco Marine makes some nice rub rail. They have some kits that would replace this just perfect. Same deal, you rivet. Well, they say to screw them on there, but I'm figuring I would try to match up to the old rivet holes. I'm either going to do that or I'm going to hydroturf the lip. My wife and I usually go to the lake together. She drives the boat, I back it into the water, so the rub rail does not see any action. So we need something on there, you know, partially for looks, partially protection if I go to the lake by myself. So I'm going to go around, peel that off, and then clean up that bond line, and we'll see what we're going to do on that. I'm kind of leaning towards hydroturf because it won't require any more holes to be drilled. I can put the rivets back in the holes for, I'm not sure how much that amounts to a structural piece. Probably not much since it's glued together, but put rivets back in the holes, put it all back together, and hydroturf right over the top of the rivets. Shoot, I could change color of hydroturf every few years if I wanted to, because it'd be a lot easier to replace than what this is. All right, all the rub rail is off of there, and that is a lot of rivets. 180 to be exact. Now, got to figure out what to do. So I need to get those stubs off. Okay, all the rivets are out, which was about as much fun as a root canal or getting punched in the mouth and then needing a root canal. Yeah. Most of them, probably 2/3 of them, just used a small punch, knocked them inside the hole, no problem. The rest of them had to be a little drilling and all to get them inside. Now I'll have to go in through every access point I can find with a shop vac and a tube and try to get as much of them sucked up as possible. Now, I did have a 95 version of these before I bought this one, and somebody had already changed the rub rail on it, evidently, because there was always rivets, the ends of rivets floating back into the bilge. So they'll work their way to the back if I don't get them all pulled out. Now, rivets, I had a little question of whether they were structural. Yeah, you need the rivets in there. I'm sure there's some silicone or some kind of goop holding the two together, but it's you definitely want the rivets in there. So I'm thinking right now, I looked at the deal at the rub rail kit from Taco Marine, and they have one. It's a 50-foot kit. It's like $250, and that would be enough to do this boat, because it was like measuring from the center of the back to the center of the front was like 18 feet. So a 50-foot kit would do it no problem. But there were some complaints about getting the screws in, and you know, since the rivets have got to go back in, I'm not going to just put some sheet metal screws in there holding the trim on and call that good. So I would say we're going to hydroturf the edge, put all the rivets back in as soon as I get all the goop cleared off, cleaned off of everything, rivet it back together, and then hydroturf it. And then I can change the turf without ever touching the rivets again. I went around the entire perimeter of the boat with some spray cleaner and rag. Got most of the dirt off this surface. And now I need to concentrate down below because there's a lot of extra silicone that's squeezed out and it's all nasty. So we'll clean all that off, because I may put a piece of foam here and then overlap so the bond line is about that wide. But first, got to get all that junk off there. All right, we've got the rail mostly cleaned up. What I'm going to be using is some EVA foam. It's a mat, a fatigue mat that you can buy at Harbor Freight. I use this a lot on the jet skis, on the X2s. Now we're looking at either putting it like this or possibly wrapping it down the side. I know it would look better wrapped, but that's a real shallow edge there, and I don't know that I can get it to stay. But either way, going to be riveting first because this will go over the top of the rivets. As you can see right here, the rivets are very structural. Apparently that top deck is not bonded like they do on the jet skis. It's just apparently siliconed and then held mostly together with the rivets. But I can't complain. I have beat on this boat for 20 some years and it has never had any structural issues. I mean, it is a solid machine. So we'll get the rivets put back in, then we'll start on the trim. There's no doubt that the rivets pull it together really tight. And that was the difference between the aftermarket rub rail I was looking at. It said to cut the rivets off to take the original rub rail off. They were just like put some silicone over the top so they don't leak and then hold it together, hold their rub rail on with screws. Well, you would need these rivets in there because these are like 2 inches, a little over 2 inches apart, and they were saying put the screws in about 6 inches apart. So definitely got to have the rivets. Which with my new stuff will just lay right over the top of them. You'll never even notice. All right, my boat is all structurally sound again. Got all the rivets back in. These holes here must have been something where they picked it up because they didn't have rivets to start with. Everything went in good. And boy, you could tell where it was pulling everything together, strengthening it up. So right now I'm working on, now that it's structurally good, I'm working on making it look good. Now I've cut a piece of the mat. I was thinking about wrapping it up the edge, but there's just not enough lip there to get it turn the corner and get it to stay put. So I'm thinking just putting it flat on the outside will look pretty good. I put a 20-degree angle on the top so it flows in this way, doesn't look too squared off. Cut it with the bandsaw and then just play a flame over that with a propane torch. Just go right over it. It gets rid of the little fuzz pieces and smooths it out. So that worked good. So I think I'm going to cut some more pieces and start working my way around. It's not coming along too bad. I'm using a brush on rubber cement. Brush it on the hull, brush it on the foam, and then stick it together. It's that brownish looking stuff. Next section, we come along here, have to start going downhill. This foam will contour like that, so shouldn't be an issue. Here we got one of the strips with the adhesive on it. With the adhesive brush down the side, so we'll stick her on there. Now I gotta mold it around. And there we go. Well, the new rub rail is all on there and finished, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's been through the car wash, and it's had a 20-mile trip over here. Hasn't blown off yet, so we're going to stick it in the water. See if the water can strip it off. Back there in the back edge would be the only place I'm worried about it. Well, this is the first trip of 2025, and Stockton has been low all winter, but got quite a bit of rain here in April, and it's not low anymore. Trim looks good setting in the water, and I love the new black handles. Anything to get rid of the purple. Well, that was a blast. Shot across the water here, 5-6 miles. No problems. The back corner, you know, when I'm in here by myself, going across the water the way the wind's going, that back corner kind of hangs down in the water a little bit. Trim is just great. It was taking quite a bit of hit with the water, so I'm thinking the trim is going to be just perfect, and I love the way it looks. Boat brand just great. You can see, thing is like a little rocket ship. It accelerates hard. That's one thing I've always loved about this boat. Those 720 engines, for only 85 horse, it's like electric the way this thing accelerates. I can't imagine having a boat this size with like the twin 110s. I had a 96 XP that had the 110 in it, and it was a rocket ship too. That's actually how why it's called XP's Garage, because I really like the Seadoo XPs. I don't have one, haven't had one for years because I got the Speedster because I had kids, and I love the Speedster. I don't think I'll go back, but if I was going to buy anything, I'd probably buy like a 95 XP. Because while I like the 110s, I like the 720s better because they're simpler. They don't have the balance shaft and everything, and the way the multi-purpose electronics module is, if it ever goes bad, I can wire completely around that. The 800s had the digital CDI, which would be a little more difficult to hack, but this thing here just runs great. Well, if you're enjoying the content, I appreciate a like and subscribe. One thing we're going to be working on next is, well, I don't have a Seadoo XP anymore. I do have the Kawasaki X2s, mine and my son's, and got some more plans for it. Got a different water box for mine. We're going to try the 86 model water box, the freer flowing water box in it, because one of the reasons was because of the way the outlets are. They aim straight forward instead of having to use the elbows on it. We'll probably end up drilling juniors and getting it a little more free flowing. Also going to put a pump stuffer in it. There is a kind of a little cavity in where the water goes up to the pump in those X2s, and that causes some turbulence and some problems that you can smooth out by putting a plate in there. So I got a plate from Pro Watercraft. I think it was Pro Watercraft. I think it's Pro Watercraft. I'm going to go ahead, while I've got the tank and everything out, putting the water box in, I'll just pull the motor out. We're going to do a little tweaking on it. We got to pull the flywheel, put a new starter drive in it, because mine doesn't work half the time. And we'll flip it over, put that pump stuffer in. And I'd say that'll probably make a difference. I hadn't noticed on the before, but you know, after having this boat for 20 some years, I was doing the pumps this morning, changing the oil on it, and the intake track on this Speedster is just perfectly smooth and flat from the water right up into the pump. So I'd say adding that to the X2s will help. So be watching for that video. That'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. All right, see you on that one. Thanks for watching.